Hello everyone, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Abe.
Amanda.
I'm Jay.
I'm Josh too.
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here. And today I'm going to be reviewing America's first attempt at remaking the classic Japanese monster movie Godzilla from 1998.
We know where he came from. We know how big he is.
The situation has become more complicated.
But our problems just multiplied.
He's pregnant.
What is this, virgin lizard?
You've got to find that nest before it's too late.
Otherwise, up to a dozen are going to be born. Think of it.
Godzilla.
Doesn't he need a mate?
Not if he reproduces asexually.
Where's the fun in that?
Rated PG-13.
Godzilla stars Matthew Broderick, Jean Reno, Hank Azaria, Vicki Lewis, Michael Lerner, Harry Shearer, and it's directed by Roland Emmerich. The plot of Godzilla 98 is that during a nuclear test, the French government inadvertently mutates a lizard's nest. Years later, a giant lizard makes its way to New York City. Nico Totopoulos, an expert on the effects of radiation on animals, is sent by the US government to study the beast. When the creature is dubbed Godzilla by news outlets, emerges a massive battle with the military begins. To make matters worse, Nico discovers that Godzilla has laid a nest of 200 eggs, which are ready to hatch. What are my positives with this movie? Honestly, for me, I'll give the film credit on this. I'll defend this film a little bit. It's notoriously hated by a lot of people. Even by the Japanese, which I'll get to that in a bit, in my negatives. I'll get all that stuff out of the way in my negatives, but I will give credit. They do use some practical effects, especially close-up shots of Godzilla in this, or I guess in a lot of people's case, Godzilla. They actually do use practical effects for the close-up shots, and actually doesn't look that bad, actually. Also, the, practical effects on the, baby Zillas, actually, hatchlings actually look pretty good too. And there are some fun sequences, especially with every time they show Godzilla and the creatures and that. Every time they do, there are some fun sequences with that stuff. I also defend the creature's design a bit. I actually do like Godzilla's design in this, actually. It's different, it's new. There are some similarities to the original design, especially in some cases. Even the sound effect actually is pretty good too for this interpretation of Godzilla. Speaking of this interpretation, I do like the fact they actually tried to make Godzilla in this more like a real animal and try to bring some actual science behind this, at least to the best of their abilities. Other than that, those are my only positives. What are my negatives with Godzilla? Honestly, for me, my biggest negative is the writing. It seemed like the film was more focused on creating, these massive sequences and everything, and just, basically scenes just meant to blow shit up, that they completely forgot to write interesting characters or an interesting story, for a matter of fact. And knowing that, even good characters, because all the characters here are completely unlikable. There's literally nobody here I could point out that's likable. Even our main lead, Matthew Broderick, is unlikable. Like, first of all, you got the fact that every time, even in situations where he's having to run for his life, tries to make a joke. In fact, at one point, they end up killing all the eggs off, and you see Godzilla is pissed by that, obviously, because it lost its young. And he's like, he seems angry. No fucking shit, asshole. You literally caused a genocide of all of its young. Of course, it'd be pissed. And knowing that, there's other stuff about his character that is, some portions of it is actually kind of creepy, like, now, they bring in a love interest that he used to date and everything, and apparently he still keeps pictures of her and everything, and that's honestly kind of creepy, and, he almost seems to be on the verge of obsessiveness. Now, I get it. There are people out there like that, as far as that stuff goes. but it makes your main character so unlikable. To make matters worse, the love interest they bring in isn't just about as unlikable in that. In fact, Matthew Broderick works for the government, was hired by the government and everything in this movie, and his story, she, at one point after meeting him in this movie, ends up taking top secret government footage behind his back so that she could report on it, because she is a reporter in this film. Well, she isn't, but she wants to be. And knowing that, she also lied about the fact that she's a reporter to him. And I'm like, what a fucking bitch. And there's also times where characters range from dull to just completely unlikable. And they tried to parody, they tried to make fun of Cisco, they tried to make fun of one of the most popular film critics, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, which having Roger Ebert be mayor of New York City in that, and Gene being his kind of aide in that. They tried making fun of them, making them seem like despicable people and that. And I'm like, first of all, why? Why do that? And I've heard it's because Gene Siskel and Robert Ebert had never gave thumbs up to Roland Emmerich's movies. You know, always gave them negative reviews. And I think, that almost kind of makes Roland Emmerich childish by doing so. And even Gene Siskel and even Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel even stated in their review of this movie that it's like, if you're going to put us in a monster movie to poke fun of us and try to get us back for not liking any of your films, how come you didn't have, in a monster movie, have the monster either kill or squash them? And that's a really good point. That is a good point. Because if you're going for this level of almost kind of distasteful parody of, people, why wouldn't you do that in a monster movie? Because I know for me, if I were to go to that length, I would do that. Also, the music's pretty forgettable. Another thing I don't like about this is the editing. The editing is just too fast-paced and everything for me. I can't even keep track of what's going on. The effects, the digital effects isn't that good. It's really crappy. It doesn't even look like it's rendered properly, actually. Also, the pacing is unforgivable, actually, of this movie. It took me about 3 days to finish this damn movie for this review. And also, this is yet another movie that tries to, set up a sequel, and which the sequel, of course, never happened. I think that's for the better. We never got a sequel to this. And I'm like, okay, maybe try working on making a good movie first, before you try to set up stuff for a sequel. And if your movie's good, make a sequel. But if not, don't. Also, another thing is, there's so many stuff, this film went through so many production issues and that. In fact, they went through so many different ideas for the story and that. And even, they had a different version of Godzilla in mind and stuff like that. In fact, at one point, they were to throw a kind of, antagonist for Godzilla, a creature in that, which would have been some form of griffin in that. And yeah, this film went through so many production issues. It's no wonder it turned out the product it did. And knowing that, I feel like the people involved, Roland Emmerich and that, had no idea what he was doing. So with that said, I'm going to give Godzilla 98 a 2 out of 5 stars. There's a lot of issues with this movie. I do think there's some slight enjoyment to it. Now, maybe this movie would have been good if that's what it was like. So bad, it's good. So bad, it's entertaining. If it was, Sleepwalkers, entertainment level. But it wasn't. There's some portions where it could have been like that, but this one was frustrating. You know, as far as frustration levels, I think as far as Godzilla films, it's a tie between this and Godzilla King of the Monsters. And to be honest, I've been frustrated with, so far, every adaptation of Godzilla they've done for, that, you know, America has done. Now, I have seen a few of the original Godzilla films, but it's been years since I've seen any of them. And maybe at some point I'll probably do the Japanese movies and maybe... So that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and that's a lot of fish. No, seriously, what the fuck was that? That's a lot of fish. How was that at all funny? I'm telling you.